Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It took a while, but I am back. I apologize for not being here last week. It is time for Week 10 NFL picks. Yes, and even though I did my NFL picks, I was not able to come on. I had to step away, really, and dealing with a few things. And plus, this had to do some adjustments to the computer as well. So I'm back. I'm about to do my NFL picks for Week 10, 2020. Now, so far, my record's been a pretty good one. In fact, I was 8-6 last week. A lot of coaches would love to have that winning percentage, no question about it. And I'm just going to go right on to it because the game will start in another couple hours or so. Thursday night matchup. What I'm also going to do is give you who's going to be out for the game, and I'm going to add on the injury reports. So please, as you come in, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. First off will be the Thursday night game where the Indianapolis Colts go on to take on the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to do the Indianapolis Colts first. Excuse me. Tight end Jack Doyle is out with a concussion. T.Y. Hilton is scheduled to play. For Tennessee, just a moment. I have rolled through my device here. They have three guys out. Adoree Jackson, the corner. Adam Humphries, the slot receiver. And the tight end, Michael Pruitt. Those three guys for the Tennessee Titans are out. And it's sad to watch him at this stage of his career. The team actually 5-3, 6-2, obviously a huge division game. I can't believe that right now the better quarterback is Ryan Tannehill. Now, is a lot of that due to Derrick Henry? Absolutely. But you have to give Tannehill credit. He runs that play-action game to perfection. Listen, they've been every game for the most part. Now, they got busted last week. I mean, let's face it. They got it handed. But they came back with a vengeance. The week prior, excuse me, they got it. Last week, they actually did it. I don't like the way the Colts defense has actually been pretty solid. But because of Phillip Rivers' turnovers, pretty good. Derrick Henry, you can make a case. He's definitely sort of like Earl Campbell used to back. The Colts haven't really had that type of performance out of their trio of running back, even though Jonathan Taylor has come into his own. And right now, he's probably more the feature back. Listen, Tennessee from top to bottom is a better football team than the Colts right now, even though the Colts defense is slightly better. The Titans offense is infinitely better. I have to go with Tennessee at home with a score of 28-20 over the Indianapolis Colts. That is the Thursday night game. Now, the plethora of Sunday games, I'm going to start out with the Houston Texans going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Just a moment. Now, for Houston, nobody's told as of yet. I mean, obviously, we really won't know that until kickoff. David Johnson, Dylan Cole, Obietu, and Clemente, they are all questionable. Nobody is out right now for the Houston Texans. Now, for the Cleveland Browns, just a moment, they have a lot of injuries on the offensive line. A bunch of questionables, both guards, the right tackle, J.C. Treader, and the linebacker, Jacob Phillips, all questionable. Now, Keller could play in Sunday's game. The other guys, as I mentioned, are questionable. Deshaun Jackson has had to do more with less than almost any other quarterback in the National Football League. David Johnson has been so-so at best, and I'm being kind when I'm saying that. The receivers, Brandon Cooks, he's not really a number one receiver. He's sort of like a 2/3. He's a speed guy. He's not a guy you really want to go over the middle. He's a guy you just want in space. He's not a guy that you have to be like, look, we shut down Brandon Cooks and win the game. And Will Fuller always has trouble staying on the field. And he's a decent talent. He's not even a number one receiver. And Watson has had to hold the ball, and he gets level. And also, we definitely see chinks in the armor when it comes to the Texas defense. I mean, that defensive line is not what it once was. The secondary is not good at all. And that plays, even though Cleveland, obviously, they've lost OBJ for the season, but they do still have Jarvis Landry. Their tight ends are pretty decent. Now, as you know, their line, the Browns line is banged up. Now, that could open up some defensive rushes for Watt and the rest of that line, and Darius as well. But I just don't trust Houston. Especially on the road. And I understand that it is not the same due to the COVID-19 pandemic with not very many fans in the stands. And I'm pretty sure there'll be no fans coming throughout the nation. But I do trust Cleveland more. And plus, a very big factor is a guy I did not mention in the injury report, Nick Chubb. He is coming back. Now, the last about 3 weeks, it's been mainly Kareem Hunt handling the running back duties for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, he did pretty decent, but again, the offensive line has been a problem. Baker Mayfield has played actually his best football over the last couple of weeks. Now, am I going to tell you that Mayfield is better than Deshaun Watson? Absolutely not. I would not tell that lie. But he definitely has more pieces around him. He also has a big chip on the defensive end, and his name is Myles Garrett. I expect him to cause all types of terror against Deshaun Watson because he actually has the speed to contain it. Will Houston score a few points? Yes, they will, but I don't believe they'll score enough in the shootout. I like Cleveland 27-24 over the Houston Texans. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Giants at MetLife Stadium. Listen, the Giants can only beat a team in Washington, and they're very lucky to have done that. And you see what happened in the other game. I mean, my God. Giants, if they didn't play Washington football team, they wouldn't have any wins. Let me tell you, they're that bad. They're that bad. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, just a moment. We'll check the injury, and obviously out really something. I don't know if Deshaun Jackson will be back. Not really sure about that. Just be sure. Sterling Shepard is questionable. Golden Tate and Caden Smith are also questionable. I don't believe Tate will play anymore for the Giants. I mean, that debacle, then he's calling out the quarterback, Daniel Jones. I don't see opinion. Devontae Freeman, he will more than likely be out as well. It's actually ran the ball pretty decent for the Giants. And I'd like to see more of him. And plus, let's face it, their leading rusher is Daniel Jones anyway. He's had to run for his life. The offensive line has not done their job. For the Eagles, let's face it, Carson Wentz has not played his best football at all this season. In fact, I've heard rumblings. Now, to me, that's a little outrageous. I mean, look at what Nick Foles has done in Chicago. Not much. In fact, I tell you what, one more bad Nick Foles outing, you might see Mitch Trubisky back under center for the Chicago Bears, depending on on how he played this Sunday. He's been that bad, or should I say Monday night? But Daniel Jones has been a turnover machine for the Giants. And as bad as Wentz has played, he's still the better quarterback here. It's so funny that they benched Eli Manning because they figured that Daniel Jones' mobility and one of the selling points on him being a top pick was he was supposed to be able to secure the football better than Eli Manning. He has not done so in his one and a half seasons so far as quarterback of the New York Giants. He just is not done it. You add that with the Giants' terrible defense, and let's face it, the Eagles' defense has actually played better over the last couple of weeks. I don't see the Giants winning this game. I would love to pick the Giants. I can't do it. I have to go Philadelphia 27, New York Giants 17 in that game. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. Let me check the injuries for that game as well. Even though Gardner Minshew is out. Boy, they have had a bunch of injuries. DJ Chark is questionable. Chenault did practice. Chark didn't practice. I mean, we'll know more at game time, obviously, but Minshew and Costin are out. That means the rookie will get another shot at quarterback, and he actually played pretty decent. And I expect him. I don't say that you're asking a rookie to go up against Aaron Rodgers. I don't see it happen. I just don't. I mean, there are a lot of guys questionable on the Packers as well, but no big glaring guy comes out. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is going to carve them up no matter who it is. This is a bad game for them. I mean, they're already 1-7. You might as well just get 1-8. There's no way that the Jaguars are winning this football game. Now, this kid has some ability, but just going up against a hot quarterback at the right time, especially after that tough a game against the Vikings, that loss, Alvin Cook running them up. Do you think that they're going to have lay two stinkers in a row like that? Especially at home. Give me the Packers big, 31-20 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next up, the Washington football team goes up against the Detroit Lions. That Detroit team, I just can't figure them out. There is no way that Matt Patricia should have a job after this season. There is no way. Unless he runs the table. No way this man should. And for the aforementioned Washington football team, the place kicker is questionable. Kyle Allen is out, which means Alex Smith will get to start at quarterback for the Washington football team. Dontrell Inman is questionable. He was limited at Thursday's practice. Hopkins was a limited participant as well. And for the Detroit Lions, I'm going to check their injury report. And this is via ESPN. Galladay is questionable. He was not present at Thursday's practice. Hawkinson, the tight end, did not practice. I mean, those are huge injuries. The safety's questionable. That means it's going to be a little. I mean, now that obviously also means more targets for Marvin Jones the second. He's actually done pretty decent this year. He looks for that tight end. He definitely looks for Galladay a lot. It'll be interesting to see if he plays or not. But, I mean, off the bench for Kyle Allen. Alex Smith, I believe, the running back was just rounding into shape. Detroit has found a decent running back as well. I mean, they have a good triumvirate of Swift, Kerryon Johnson. They have another kid who totes the rock pretty decent as well. Just don't trust that Detroit Lion team. At home, it seems like they play worse. Look how they lost that game to Atlanta. That's a joke. Oh, boy. Two bad teams. You normally go with the bad team that they have a shot to win. That's NFC East. I'm going to go with Washington 24-21 over the Detroit Lions. Next up, Tampa Bay, who got spanked by the Saints. They will go into Carolina to take on the Panthers, who will be without Christian McCaffrey. He is out. Moment. Yeah, McCaffrey is out. I mean, they were talking about he has a realistic chance to play in Week 11. He is out this game. Just a moment. Russell Okung is questionable, the left tackle. That's an interesting injury as well against Tampa Bay's front. Normally the quarterback, and I know they're looking to get to the quarterback, especially after that terrible debacle at the stage show. I mean, they got murdered by the Saints. That was a practice. I don't know if he'll play, especially with the availability of Antonio Brown. Shaquille Barrett is questionable. Listen, I can't stand. Everybody knows I can't stand Tom Brady. Can't stand him. But I have to be fair. I don't see him playing 2 bad games in a row, especially against that defensive secondary. Quarterback, not great. Arguably the best overall running back in pro football when he's healthy. It definitely limits your chances. Now, Curtis Samuel has played pretty well for them. And it'll be interesting to see how they get him the ball. But that defense is just not good enough. I'm going to go Tampa Bay 31-27 over the Carolina Panthers in this game. Next up, the LA Chargers are going to take on the Miami Dolphins. Just a moment while I check the injury report for both teams. And again, it is a little early. For the Dolphins, the linebacker Kyle Van Noy is out, and he probably, that's due to that Breeder's questionable. Their defensive tackle Christian Wilkins is out. He's also out due to COVID. Now, for the Chargers, just a moment. Bosa is questionable, and he did participate in individual drills. I don't know if he's going to play, but Justin Jackson, the running back, will be out. He is listed as questionable, and their head coach has said that he's leaning toward resting him this week. Bulaga and Trey Turner, part of the offensive line, they are both questionable. I'm not sure if Bulaga will play. He had a significant back injury against the Raiders. So there it is. Tua played very well last week. I tell you what, that team, I thought that Tua was not going to play that well. And he didn't play great against the Rams, but he played good enough. Played much better the following week. This Charger secondary is not the same. Not the same as last year's. Bosa might or might not be playing, and that's a big if for them. Ingram has played not as well as he did last season. It'll be interesting to see how Tua continues to grow within this system. He has played much better. I'm going to go in the battle of rookie quarterbacks, and Herbert has played well, but he's coming back to earth a bit. I'm going to go Miami at home, 27-21 over the LA Chargers. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders will be hosting the Denver Broncos. This will be an interesting game. You know, those two teams normally hate each other. And for the Raiders, Corey Littleton, the linebacker, he is out due to COVID. I tell you, this COVID has been really horrible, really, really horrible. Trayvon Mullins, his hamstring made him questionable. I'm not sure if he'll play. The offense, listen, we already know how bad and banged up the offensive line has been for the Raiders. Now for the Denver Broncos, their fine receiver Jerry Jeudy, he's questionable. Devontae Bosby is out. Bryce Callahan is questionable, and Deontay Spencer is questionable. Drew Lock has sort of regressed. as a quarterback. I tell you what, John Elway, outside of Peyton Manning, his track record with backs not too good, not too good at all. And I tell you what, if his name wasn't John Elway, he would have been fired already. As much as I'm not a fan of John Gruden, I think he's the most overrated coach, or at least he was the most overrated coach in the NFL. He has done a decent job with these Raiders. Now, you could go the other way and say, well, listen, he's got enough high draft picks. But listen, he got a lot of them due to the trade for Khalil Mack, which has turned out to pay some dividends for the Raiders. I have to be fair with that. I guess he's all in with Carr right now. It'll be interesting to see how they play after last week's game. I'm just not a brighter, yeah. Head coach, absolutely. And you know why I feel that way if you've heard his comments. And the team has not really played that great for him, I'll tell you that. I have to give it to the Raiders at home. I like them, 28-24. I do believe that. Next up, the Buffalo Bills go in to take on the Arizona Cardinals. I tell you what, that quarterback, he has done everything he possibly can to win, but he's very limited on our offensive line. And it's come back to bite every single time. And he does, listen, he falls in love with his arm. He definitely does. Now for Buffalo, and I'm a fan of that quarterback as well. Now there are three guys in the secondary questionable. Norman Tre'Davious White is today, and now he's limited. Hyde is limited due to an ankle injury, and White was limited in practice as well. Now we'll know more on Sunday. I'm just giving you a preliminary report. Now for Arizona, Max Williams, Kenyon Drake, Drake Kirkpatrick, Buda Baker, and Jordan Phillips, and Deontay Thompson. They're all questionable for the Cardinals. I'm a fan of both of them. Josh Allen, and both of these guys will do whatever it takes to win. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's a quicker, younger version of Russell Wilson. That's what he is. In fact, I believe at this stage of his career, he definitely has a stronger arm. Now, their defense, they're a little bit up and down, but they can rush the quarterback. And I believe the Bills, they've been the last three. Well, not too big a lead. I'll take that back. A 2-game lead on Miami. And they better be careful because Miami is creeping up behind them. The Cardinals need this game to stay within shouting distance in the NFC. They're definitely have. So this is a very important game, obviously, for both teams, but the Cardinals. And I have to go desperate team at home over a Bills team which has a 2-game lead over their closest rival. I'm going to go Cardinals 34, Bills 27. Next up, the New Orleans Saints, who destroyed the Tampa Bay Bucks, take on the 49ers. Listen, it'll be too long to go over that laundry list of injuries that the 49ers have. I will go to the New Orleans side of the ledger. Just a moment. Drew Brees is questionable. He was limited in practice. Michael Thomas was questionable as well, but I do expect him to play. And again, the laundry list of injuries for San Francisco. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, their corners out, Kawan Williams. Kevin Kolb is questionable. I guess Garoppolo's playing. He's not on the list here for injuries. I don't know if it even matters, especially the way the Saints play on defense. And then when you add the fact that the San Francisco 49er offensive line is not playing half as well as they did last season, I like the Saints here. And then they get It's not going to be as ugly as it was last week against the 49ers. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks take on the Rams. That is a huge game within the division. Just a moment. Now, Jamal Adams played last week for the Seahawks. I don't know if it mattered because he was terrible. KJ Wright is questionable, didn't participate in yesterday's practice. Just a moment. Oh, goodness. Just one moment. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Carson, listen, their running back thing is a mess right now. Now for the LA Rams. Their running back is also questionable. Now he's expected to suit up this Sunday. Cooper Kupp is also questionable. Now Sean McVay, the coach, said that he is on track to play, and they need Cooper Kupp. He is definitely Jared Goff's safety valve when he looks for a third down or any type of big-time completion. He definitely looks to Cooper Kupp first, and then to Robert Woods second. Russell Wilson was the leader in the MVP ballot before 2 weeks ago. These last 2 weeks have brought Russell Wilson not only back to the pack. Right now, I believe he is behind as far as the MVP. You're going to see a lot of votes for Pat Mahomes, and rightfully so. There are going to be some votes sprinkled in with Big Ben if he continues to stay undefeated and the Steelers do what they do. For the Rams, listen, Aaron Donald has been his magnificent self, and the rest of the front has actually done their job, but that back end outside of Ramsey has not. It'll be interesting to see how this game shapes up because Russell Wilson, I don't expect him to have 3 bad games in a row. Play better than they did last week. This is a toss-up game that I'm going to go with the Rams at home. And they have a chance to really make it a logjam at this NFC Western division. You could see 3 teams at 6-3 next week. You could easily see that. LA Rams 27, Seattle 24. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals go into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Now, this is going to be a little tricky because the Steelers have 4 guys who are on COVID watch, including Ben Roethlisberger, of course, the quarterback. Now, we already have seen what has happened as far as Big Ben not playing for the Steelers. We know what that looks like. And if Big Ben's not playing, then the Steelers aren't winning this game. But I'm going to assume, since they don't have him on the injury report, right now they have Mike Hitton, backup defensive end Bugs. Now, the Tyson Alualu, they do need him. And they obviously need Hitton as well. But I have to say it, and you know I'm not I can't stand the Bengals. They've been a cheap shot team for the longest. And by the way, they're in report. Ross is questionable. Mixon has a bad foot. They just got McKinney. He was claimed off waivers. He'll probably get a few snaps in. Their offensive line, Williams and Hart, are questionable. Darius Phillips is also questionable. As much as I can't stand the Bengals, I like Joe Burrow. I've come full circle with him. At first, I thought that he was overrated, that his receivers and running back made him. He has been everything and more for that Cincinnati franchise. I have to be fair with this. And I believe that the Bengals are going to be a team that nobody's going to want to play in December. They're going to knock some people a peg or 2 off of their playoff run. They are that dangerous with that. Now, that offensive line is not good. And that plays right into the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You see what they do. Bad offensive lines. They have terrorized good offensive lines, Axe the Tennessee Titans. Now you add 2 offensive tackles that are hurt in the mix. That means T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree are going to tee off. I tell you what, that Highsmith kid is coming on as well. I don't care. And I tell you what, the Steelers have been still very stout against that run. The Steelers secondary, I tell you what, Joe Hayden made the play of the game. It was not talked about enough last week. That foot tackle that he made saved the game for the Steelers last week because that made it a 4th and very long, and that kid wasn't going to complete that. And he played pretty well. Now, this is a different type of kid. This quarterback here is going to be a star in this league, barring injury, for a number of years. I really am a fan of Joe Burrows. The Bengals are going to keep it close, but I believe, provided that Ben is playing, the Steelers are going to eke it out 30-23 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Sunday night game has the Baltimore Ravens taking on the New England Patriots. Just one moment, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, Baltimore came back with a little bit of a vengeance. Now, Mark Ingram did not practice today, and Jimmy Smith also did not practice. Now, Calais Campbell is doubtful. He probably won't play. In fact, he's expected to miss multiple weeks, and this is according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. Now, that's a huge injury. Huge injury for the Ravens. Ravens team is not the same without him. Now, for the New England Patriots, they have a bunch of injuries. I mean, Jordan Thomas, their tight end, is out. Stephon Gilmore's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. Their running back Harris is questionable. Jones, questionable. Shaq Mason, both safeties. Boy, they are mashing. Then they wonder why Cam Newton is struggling. Even though some of it is Cam's making as well. And listen, he has not been the same player, Cam Newton, since the COVID-19. He hasn't. In fact, I tell you what, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I am, well, at least not against the Steelers, but against every other team. If Lamar Jackson doesn't watch it, he could end up like the guy he's going up against in Cam Newton if they don't protect him. And luckily, he has a good enough running game. But Lamar Jackson has taken a lot of hits that are unnecessary. That offensive line has not done as good a job as they normally have been. Now, some of it is due to age, and some of it is obviously due to injury. I mean, once they lost that left tackle, Stanley, that changed their entire blocking scheme. They're going to have to get rid of it quick. They're going to have to run the football. Now, it's sad to watch Cam Newton. And I understand they beat the Jets last week, but that's just it. They beat the Jets last week. The Jets are almost not even an NFL team. And in fact, the only reason the Jets won't lose this week is because they're not playing this week. There's a bye week. Now, they can't play the type of football they played last week and expect to win. In fact, I don't expect them to win. I like Baltimore 27-20, even in New England. And let's face it, due to the pandemic, the home field advantage is just not what it used to be. And next up, the final game, the Monday night game, is the Minnesota Vikings going into Chicago to take on the Bears. And for the Vikings, their tight end, Irv Smith Jr., and their corner, Cameron Chancellor, are both questionable. Smith did not practice due to the groin injury, but hey, they do have Kyle Rudolph, so they're fine with that. Now, for the Chicago Bears, Trubisky is doubtful. He did not practice. He has a shoulder injury. Roy Robinson Harris is on injured reserve. His season will more than likely be done. Mingo's hurt. Robinson, questionable. Now, he was limited in practice. Montgomery's probably out due to concussion. Um, I tell you what, Nick Foles, I understand he won a Super Bowl in Philly. This isn't Philly. He is not the same quarterback. First of all, he's more of a stopgap guy anyway, and now you're seeing him being exposed. When you can't run the football, Nick Foles is useless. When you can run, he can do the play action. He can run some RPO, but he's just not the guy. And listen, I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins. He's better than Nick Foles. And you know what? It doesn't matter because when you have right now, I tell you what, I don't know who's the better back, Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, they both can hit the home run ball, but Dalvin Cook is he's so shifty and he has a little bit of power. Derrick Henry is back. He's a max. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose Henry. He's more durable and he's more my type of running back. I like sledgehammer backs because at the end of games, if you remember the great John Riggins, guys like that, Jerome Bettis, I mean, those are closer type running backs. You do not want to tackle those guys at the end of the game. And I tell you what, the Bears defense they've had enough between Foles and let's face it, Trubisky's going to be out. They have no quarterback. No quarterback in the NFL means no chance. And I understand that the Bears are 5-4 and the Vikings are 3-5. The Vikings are a better team. I'm going to go Minnesota 27-17 in Chicago against the Bears. And those are my NFL picks for Week 10, 2020. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Claude signing out. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care, and God bless.